My friends, do you know what's funny? Everyone wants success, but nobody wants to get out of bed. We all say, I'll start tomorrow, but somehow tomorrow never comes. And even when it does, we're too tired to greet it. Let me tell you something powerful today. Your bed is not your enemy, your excuses are. Because the biggest thief of your dreams doesn't live outside you, it lives inside you. It's that soft voice whispering, 5 more minutes. But what if I told you that 5 minutes is all it takes to change your life? Today, I want you to wake up, not just from sleep, but from that comfort zone that's quietly killing your potential. Because, my friends, if you don't wake up for your dreams will fall asleep forever. You see, my friends, there's a big difference between taking rest and being lazy. Rest is sacred. It's necessary. It's like recharging your inner battery so you can rise again stronger. Even nature rests. The sun sets, the waves pause, and trees stand still through the night. Rest is divine. But laziness is different. Laziness is when you have energy, but you choose not to use it. When you have time, but you keep wasting it. When you have potential, but you keep postponing it. Laziness doesn't come from tiredness. It comes from resistance. Resistance to effort. Resistance to discomfort. Resistance to change. You don't feel lazy because you're weak. You feel lazy because your mind has convinced you that doing nothing is safer than failing. It tells you, don't start now, it's not the right time. But my friends, when will it ever be the right time? The perfect moment never comes. We create it. Think about this. Even a seed buried in the soil must push through darkness before it sees the light. It resists the comfort of the soil, struggles upward, and finally breaks through to become a tree. That's effort. That's life. But most people stay buried under their excuses, calling it rest, when it's really avoidance. Laziness quietly steals your potential. It whispers, relax, you've got time. But every time you listen, you lose a piece of your tomorrow. It gives you comfort now, but guilt later. And what's worse, it doesn't show its damage immediately. You don't wake up one day and see lazy written on your face. But slowly, your dreams fade, your energy drops, your confidence slips. You start to live half awake, comfortable, but unfulfilled. Rest is what your body needs after effort. Laziness is what your mind creates to avoid effort. The difference is intention. Rest says, I'll pause to recover. Laziness says, I'll pause to escape. And that's where most people fall, in that thin line between pausing and quitting. So the next time you feel lazy, ask yourself, am I tired or am I avoiding something uncomfortable? If you're tired, rest. If you're avoiding, move. Because every time you choose to act, when you don't feel like it, you weaken that resistance a little more. You train your brain to obey your goals, not your moods. Remember, it's easy to sleep through your potential, but when you wake up, it's painful to see how much time you've lost. Don't let laziness disguise itself as self-care. True rest refuels you, laziness robs you. One rebuilds your strength, the other slowly destroys your will. Wake up, move. Even a small action is better than another excuse. Because once you understand this truth, that laziness isn't rest, it's resistance, you'll stop waiting to feel ready and start creating the energy you need to live the life you're capable of. It's warm, familiar, safe. And that's exactly the problem. The comfort zone feels like home, but it slowly becomes a cage. It's where dreams go to sleep and where potential quietly dies. We all love comfort, the predictable routine, the familiar faces, the habits that don't challenge us. But growth doesn't happen where we feel cozy, it happens where we feel uncomfortable. Think about it. The butterfly cannot remain a caterpillar forever. The cocoon feels secure, but if it never breaks free, it never flies. The same thing happens to us. The moment we step outside our comfort zone, life begins to stretch us. It tests us, molds us, and shapes us into who we're meant to become. But as long as we stay in comfort, we stay the same. The truth is, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they refuse to be uncomfortable. They don't want to risk embarrassment, rejection, or effort. They want the reward without the resistance, the success without the struggle. But every great person you admire, every success story was born in discomfort. Success never blooms in safety. When you stay too long in comfort, you begin to shrink without realizing it. Your goals get smaller, your drive gets weaker, and your excuses get louder. You start to say, "I'm fine where I am," even when deep down, you know you're not. Because comfort numbs you, it gives you the illusion of peace while quietly stealing your purpose. It's like sitting in lukewarm water, not too cold to shock you, not hot enough to move you, just enough to keep you still. And the world outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. That's where opportunities live, where growth waits, where the real version of you is hiding. Every time you step out, even just a little, you expand. You learn something new about yourself. You find strength you didn't know you had. The discomfort you fear today becomes the confidence you'll carry tomorrow. Let me tell you something. Life will never reward you for what you intended to do, only for what you actually did. An action rarely feels comfortable at first. The gym doesn't feel good on day one. The early morning alarm doesn't sound pleasant. Speaking your truth, chasing your dream, starting something new, it all feels awkward, painful, and uncertain. But if you push through that discomfort, it becomes your new comfort. You level up. Your comfort zone is not evil, it's just temporary. It's the place you visit to recover, not to live. You rest there, reflect there, but you don't grow there. Because the moment you start settling in, life starts slowing down. And before you know it, your best years slip away, not because you failed, but because you never even tried. So, my friend, the next time you feel afraid to step out, remind yourself that fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal that you're growing. The shaking hands, the racing heart, the self-doubt, they're proof you're doing something brave. The pain of growth lasts for a moment, the pain of comfort lasts a lifetime. Don't let the comfort zone trick you into believing you're safe. Safety without growth is stagnation. And stagnation is silent decay. If you truly want to live, not just exist, you must walk into the unknown, stumble, fall, rise again, and keep walking. Because the truth is, your greatest life is waiting for you just one step beyond your comfort zone. We often sit and wait for that spark of inspiration to strike us, as if one magical morning we'll wake up filled with unstoppable energy, ready to chase our dreams. But that day rarely comes. Motivation is not the beginning of the journey. It's the result of movement. When you move, motivation follows. When you sit still, it fades. Most people think they need to feel ready before they start, ready to work out, ready to study, ready to build that business, ready to change their life. But here's the truth, you will never feel completely ready. The mind will always find reasons to delay. I'm too tired. It's not the right time. I'll start next week. These are not reasons. They're fears wearing the mask of logic. If you keep waiting for motivation to knock on your door, you'll be waiting for a lifetime. Action is the spark that lights motivation. The moment you start, even when you don't feel like it, something inside you changes. You gain momentum. Think about pushing a heavy car. The hardest part is the first push when it's still. But once it moves, even a small effort keeps it rolling. Life is like that. The beginning is hard. The middle is easier. The end feels natural. But nothing moves until you do. Every time you take action, your brain releases a small sense of achievement. That feeling of, I did something. That tiny win fuels your next step, and suddenly the very action you were avoiding becomes addictive. You begin to crave progress more than you craved comfort. That's when motivation truly awakens. Not before action, but because of it. The secret is to start small. Don't wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect conditions. Perfection is procrastination in disguise. Take one small step, even if it's clumsy. Write one line, make one call, take one walk, study one page. Because once you begin, the energy you were waiting for begins to flow through you. The act of doing gives birth to the desire to do more. Let me tell you something deeper. The mind is designed to protect you from discomfort. It always wants to conserve energy, to take the easy path, to avoid risk. That's why you'll never feel like starting something hard. The mind will resist. But if you move your body, if you act despite the thought, the body tells the brain, we're doing this. The brain then adjusts, creating motivation after action. You don't think your way into new behavior, you act your way into new thinking. Even in spiritual life, this truth exists. You don't wait to feel devotion to start praying. You start praying and devotion arises. You don't wait to feel grateful before you count your blessings. You count them and gratitude grows. The action comes first, the feeling follows. And here's the beauty. When you realize this, you stop being a slave to your moods. You stop saying, I'll do it when I feel like it. Because if you only act when you feel good, you'll achieve very little. The people who change their lives aren't the ones who are always motivated. They're the ones who show up even when they're not. That's what builds strength, character, and consistency. You see, waiting for motivation is like waiting for the tide to turn while your ship is still tied to the dock. You must untie the ropes and start sailing. Only then does the wind start to favor you. The movement attracts momentum, the universe meets you halfway, but only when you take the first step. So the next time your mind says, I don't feel like it, smile and say, that's okay, I'll start anyway. Because the act of starting, even when you're not ready, is an act of courage. It's a declaration that your goals are stronger than your excuses. And once you begin, something powerful happens. You don't need motivation anymore. You become it. Remember, motion creates emotion. You don't wait for energy, you create it. You don't wait for inspiration, you spark it. Motivation is not a gift given to the lucky ones. It's a reward given to the doers. The secret isn't to find the drive, it's to start moving and let the drive find you. Inspiration is beautiful. It's that sudden spark, that feeling of fire in your chest, that rush that makes you believe you can conquer the world. But inspiration is also fragile. It comes when it wants, and it leaves when it pleases. You can't depend on it. It's like the wind. It may lift you for a moment, but if you rely on it too long, you'll eventually fall when it disappears. Discipline, on the other hand, is not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's quiet, steady, sometimes even boring. but it's what carries you when inspiration is gone. So many people start their journey when they feel inspired. They set big goals, make promises, dream loudly, and for a few days, they're unstoppable. But then comes the day when they wake up tired, unmotivated, unsure. That's when most people stop. Not because they can't, but because they only learn to act when they feel like it. And that's where discipline comes in. Discipline doesn't ask, do you feel like it? It simply says, do it anyway. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's what turns intentions into reality. Anyone can start, but very few continue. Why? Because continuing is not exciting. Continuing means doing the work when no one is watching. It means showing up when it's raining, when it's boring, when it's hard, when you're tired, when it feels like nothing is working. That's when the difference is made, not on the good days, but on the hard ones. Discipline doesn't shout. It doesn't post quotes or make grand speeches. It simply repeats the same small action over and over again until success becomes inevitable. Think of water dripping on stone. It doesn't break the rock through force, it breaks it through consistency. That's discipline. Quiet, patient, and unstoppable. Inspiration gives you a reason to start, but discipline gives you the power to finish. The world is full of inspired people who never finish what they begin. Inspiration writes the first chapter, discipline writes the book. Inspiration joins the gym, discipline builds the body. Inspiration starts the business, discipline keeps it alive. Inspiration falls in love, discipline keeps the relationship strong. The truth is, discipline is love in action. Love for your dreams, your goals, your future self. Because when you're disciplined, you're saying to yourself, I respect my potential enough to keep going, even when I don't feel like it. And that's rare in a world that worships comfort. Every great achiever in history has been disciplined. They didn't rely on feeling ready. They built routines, habits, systems. They didn't wait for the right mood. They created structure that carried them through every mood. The painter who paints every morning, even when the canvas looks dull. The athlete who trains when their body aches. The writer who writes even when the words don't come easily. These people are not always inspired. They are disciplined. And something magical happens when you practice discipline long enough. You start to trust yourself. You stop making promises you can't keep. You start believing your own words. You begin to feel proud, not because of what you achieved, but because of who you became. Discipline shapes character. It builds self-respect. When you keep the small promises you make to yourself every day, you stop needing others to validate you. Discipline may feel tough at first, but it gives you freedom. The freedom to wake up with clarity, the freedom to live without guilt, the freedom to know that you're moving forward, even if it's slow. Because laziness feels good for a moment, but discipline feels good for a lifetime. There will be days when you won't feel like doing anything. That's normal. You'll feel tired, uninspired, distracted. But remember, you don't need to feel good to do good. The work you do on the days you don't feel like it, that's what separates you from the rest. That's where you grow. That's where greatness hides. Behind repetition, behind discipline, behind doing the boring things well. So don't wait for a spark. Become your own fire. Don't chase inspiration. Build a routine that keeps you moving even when inspiration is asleep. One day, when you look back, you'll realize that the small, disciplined steps you took every day built the staircase to everything you ever wanted. Inspiration may start the race, but discipline finishes it. And in life, it's not about who starts with energy. It's about who finishes with purpose. Comfort feels good, doesn't it? That soft pillow, that familiar routine, that safe little bubble where nothing challenges you and nothing scares you. It's tempting to stay there, to live every day on repeat, avoiding the storms, avoiding the unknown. But the truth is, comfort is a trap disguised as peace. It gives you momentary pleasure, but it steals your long-term purpose. Comfort whispers, "You're fine where you are," even when deep down you know you're not. Progress, on the other hand, is not comfortable. It stretches you. It demands something from you. It asks you to wake up earlier, to face fear, to fail, to learn, to get back up. It asks you to trade ease for evolution. That's why so few people truly grow. Because growth requires you to be uncomfortable. You can't evolve while clinging to comfort. You can't rise while staying where you are. Think about every great story. None of them begin with comfort. They begin with discomfort, with challenge, with uncertainty. The seed must be buried in darkness before it sprouts. The athlete must train through pain before winning gold. The student must study when they'd rather rest. The dreamer must keep going when no one believes in them. Growth is never painless, but it's always worth it. Comfort gives you pleasure. Progress gives you pride. Pleasure fades quickly. It satisfies you for a few minutes, maybe a few hours. But pride stays. When you push yourself through difficulty, when you do something you didn't think you could, when you overcome your own excuses, that feeling lasts. That's fulfillment, that's strength, that's real happiness. The danger of comfort is that it feels so harmless. You tell yourself, "I'm just relaxing, I deserve a break, I'll start tomorrow." But every day you choose comfort over progress, you lose a little momentum, a little passion, a little purpose. It doesn't kill you instantly. It kills your potential slowly, silently. You wake up one day realizing that the life you wanted passed you by while you were busy staying comfortable. Progress asks for sacrifice. You'll have to give up certain pleasures, sleeping in late, endless scrolling, pointless distractions. You'll have to embrace discomfort, early mornings, difficult conversations, moments of doubt. But that discomfort is sacred. It's the sign that you're growing. The pain you feel when you stretch a muscle is the proof that it's becoming stronger. The same is true for your mind and your character. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you take one step closer to your higher self, the version of you that's disciplined, capable, and fulfilled. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you move backward, even if you're standing still. Because life doesn't stop. It's either pulling you forward or letting you drift back. You see, comfort is not happiness. It's the illusion of happiness. It's a temporary escape from the discomfort that growth demands. True happiness is not found in avoiding effort, it's found in mastering it. It's that deep sense of peace that comes from knowing you gave your best. People often say, "I just want to be happy." But happiness without progress feels empty. If all you do is stay comfortable, you begin to feel restless, bored, uninspired. Because deep inside, your soul was not designed to sit still. It was designed to expand. Comfort might make your body relaxed, but progress makes your spirit come alive. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is not intelligence or luck. It's what they choose when comfort and progress collide. The successful ones choose to be uncomfortable for a while so they can grow for a lifetime. The others choose to feel good now and regret it later. So ask yourself, do you want to feel comfortable Or do you want to feel proud? Do you want to live easy or life fulfilled? Because comfort will cost you growth, and growth will cost you comfort. You can't have both. When you chase progress, your comfort zone expands. What once felt hard becomes easy. What once scared you becomes natural. That's how growth works. It's not about making life easier. It's about making yourself stronger. And every time you step into discomfort willingly, you take your power back from fear. Progress is the journey of becoming, of moving forward even when it hurts, of doing what's right instead of what's easy. Comfort will keep you the same. Progress will make you someone new. And one day, you'll look back and thank yourself, not for the easy choices, but for the hard ones that shaped you. So stop chasing comfort. It gives you nothing lasting. Chase progress, because the more you grow, the more alive you truly feel. Talent can make you shine for a moment, but consistency makes you unstoppable. Talent might open the door, but consistency is what keeps you inside the room. The world is full of talented people who started strong but couldn't stay the course. They had the skills, the ideas, the spark, but they lacked the discipline to keep showing up when it got hard, when it got boring, when it stopped being exciting. That's the moment most people quit. And that's the moment consistency separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Consistency is not about doing something big once. It's about doing something small again and again until it becomes powerful. It's about showing up even when you don't see results yet, even when no one is watching, even when progress feels invisible. Because that's how real transformation happens, not overnight, but over time, slowly, quietly, patiently. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. They think success is built through breakthroughs, but it's really built through small, repeated actions. Like drops of water that carve mountains, consistency wears away resistance. Every single day you do a little bit, you build momentum. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you can, and that belief, that quiet confidence, becomes your greatest strength. The truth is, consistency is hard because it's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It doesn't give you instant results. You don't get applause for waking up early, for putting in the extra hour, for practicing when no one notices. But that's where champions are made, not in the spotlight, but in the silence of effort. When you're tired, when you're doubting yourself, when quitting feels easier. Those are the moments that shape you. Winners are not necessarily more gifted. They're just more committed. They're willing to repeat the same routine until it becomes second nature. They know that success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can be intense for a day, few can be consistent for a decade. The difference between average and amazing is not speed, it's endurance. Think of the farmer. He plants the seed, waters it, and waits. Days pass, weeks pass, nothing happens. Still, he keeps watering because he knows growth happens underground first, where no one can see it. Then one day, a small sprout breaks through the soil. That's consistency. Faith in daily effort, even without visible reward. The same happens in your goals. You might not see progress now, but something is growing beneath the surface. Your habits, your mindset, your resilience. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. You begin to believe that when you say you'll do something, you'll actually do it. That's how self-respect is built, not through motivation, but through follow-through. When you show up again and again, even when no one else does, you start to feel unshakable. The biggest trap people fall into is thinking that consistency means perfection. It doesn't. You will stumble. You will skip days. You will fail. But what matters is that you return. Consistency is not about never falling. It's about never staying down. It's about forgiving yourself quickly and getting back on track. Because one mistake doesn't break you, giving up does. And here's something powerful. Consistency compounds. One day of effort might seem small, but 100 days change your skill.